top stories tonight. 3 states withdraw a Supreme Court reserves judgment in 16 state governors' suit challenging legality of EFCC. Federal High Court disqualifies Kano Electoral Commission chairman and members over partisan leaning. Edo Transition Committee accuses state government of withholding relevant documents. And failed truck accident in Uganda leaves at least 10 people dead, several others injured. Thank you for joining us. I'm Felicity Ezewike. Let's begin by telling you that the governors of Ebonyi, Anambra and Adamawa State have withdrawn from the suit by 16 governors of the Federation seeking to scrap the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, and other anti-graft agencies in the country. This was as a 7-man panel of justices of the Supreme Court entertaining the suit reserved its judgment for a date to be communicated in due time. News Center's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
The suit was to be entertained by the Supreme Court. However, just before the judgment, the states of Ebonyi, Adamawa and Anambra requested to be withdrawn from the suit, while Nasarawa State informed the court that its application is different from that of the other states.
But our own case is challenging the constitutionality of the directive issued by the NFIU, limiting cash withdrawal for states, knowing fully well that in Nasarawa State we have a social investment policy geared towards enhancing the living standard of the people at the grassroots, where His Excellency the Governor Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, out of his passion for lifting people out of poverty, initiated a program through which indigent people at the grassroots level are being shared some stipends running into millions of naira, and is a talk of the state.
The Attorney General of the state says that the cash withdrawal limit by the NFIU is making the implementation of its social investment programs difficult.
Now, by the time this policy comes on board to limit the cash withdrawal by the states, it will frustrate this program, and it by extension affects the living standard of the people at the grassroots. So this is why we are in court, not to challenge the constitutionality of the establishment of the EFCC, ICPC, NFIU. These are institutions that are in place to actually fight corruption that is bedeviling the development of this country. So Nasarawa State is still on its feet, seeking for the interpretation of the Supreme Court on the constitutionality or otherwise of that policy. This is why we are here.
All eyes are now on the fate of the 13 governors left in the suit, and of course, whether the status of the anti-corruption agencies in Nigeria will change. In Abuja, for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Many thanks, Emmanuel. To further discuss this, I'm joined by legal practitioner Liboras Oshoma. Liboras, thank you very much for joining us. Now, the state attorney generals are saying that the formation of the EFCC, being a fallout of the UN Convention on Anti-Corruption, did not follow the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution. And then on the flip side, the federal government is arguing that the legality of the EFCC as a federal agency to tackle statewide corruption has been decided by the same Supreme Court previously. So considering the endemic nature of corruption in the country, will Nigeria, in your view, survive the fight against corruption if the Supreme Court decides that the EFCC is standing on a wrong foundation?
Thank you very much. We make it look as if corruption can only be fought at the federal level. We operate a federal constitution. And so for you to fight corruption, agreeing that is endemic, the entire country, the state and the local government must be carried along. That's basically what the states are saying, that Section 12, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution as amended makes provision for how a convention can be adopted into our laws. And considering the fact that the Supreme Court in the case of Joseph Wumbike against the Federal Republic of Nigeria has identified the fact that this EFCC Act is a fallout of the United Nations Convention, and that for us, to truly adopt that law into our laws, to have a holistic statewide application, it must comply with subsection 3 of subsection 2 of section 12 of the 1999 Constitution. So, to answer your question directly, we have enough capacity to fight corruption. It must not just be from one end where the federal government is making it look as if it is the headmaster who will have to whip every other person, including state and local government chairman, into line. And like somebody, a colleague of mine, the example a colleague of mine gave is like a lawyer who is alleged to be a fake lawyer, who is alleged not to be qualified, who has been practicing law for the past 20 years as a fake lawyer, and then you now say because he's been winning cases, let us allow him continue. The challenge by the state is that the EFCC, legally speaking, is standing on the wrong foot. And you can't fight corruption. An illegal organization cannot truly, in all honesty, fight corruption. So the entire country must be carried along in fighting that corruption. That's basically what they're saying. And I think I agree with them.
Okay, at the resumed hearing on Tuesday, today that is, Imo, Bauchi and Osun states joined the suit as co-plaintiffs, while Anambra, Ebonyi and Adamawa states said they are withdrawing their suits. How significant is this withdrawal to the likely outcome?
You know, when this suit was filed, I will tell you that there's a lot of lobbying going on. Anambra, you know, there's an election coming up in Anambra. So even though the ruling party there is Abuja, definitely want the cooperation of the government at the center. That's some of the things we are saying, that where everybody will have to kowtow to the government at the center, where the government at the center will have to, you know, use blackmail, subtle blackmail and negotiations to ensure state compliance. So states like Anambra, you know, will always, you know, find a way to get the support of what do you call it, the federal government. But be that as it may, 3 states withdrew, 3 states joined. You still have 19 states challenging the validity or otherwise of the EFCC Act, the NFIU Act, and the ICPC Act. And quickly, let me touch on the case of Nasarawa State. Even if the Nasarawa State is saying that they are not challenging the validity or legality of the establishment of the NFIU, but indirectly, what they are still doing is challenging the validity or legality or otherwise of its establishment. Because if you say the directive that they had given, it's not in compliance with the state practice, or what it means is that, look, the state needs to be carried along in carrying out this federal government establishment or these federal government agencies that have been established by the federal government to check corruption. So, head or tail, basically, they are saying the same thing. It's just a question of semantics. And I do not see why the federal government will be hell-bent on insisting that, look, you know, these other cases have been decided before. The question is, no court had decided the validity, legality, or otherwise of the establishment of the EFCC or NFIU. What they had decided before now is whether the National Assembly has the power to make laws, you know, to establish the EFCC Act. But whether its validity, whether the states need to be carried along in establishing, you know, the EFCC had never been decided by the Supreme Court, which is why this case is different. The issues are different. So the question of issue estoppel or estoppel res judicata cannot apply in this matter because the issues are different from what had been decided previously.
All right, before we let you go, considering what we know about state governments, governors themselves, and how they treat state house assemblies as appendages, does the state have any mechanism or capacity, in your view, to fight corruption?
No, certainly they do. We agree that our states are not, you know, in terms of practicing what you call true federalism, the state are still lagging behind. But I think these things are caused by the federal government. You find a situation where the federal government will act as, like I said, you know, as a headmaster. Some states, like Kano State, for example, have been struggling to bring Ganduje, his former governor, to book, using their own internal mechanism. But the federal government has been frustrating it because it controls the EFCC. Kaduna State, for example, also, there's been battle between the State House of Assembly, the governor, the current governor, and the former governor to bring the former governor to account. But has EFCC ever invited these people? No, because they belong to the government at the center. Tell me, as people have complained about the attitude of the previous Attorney General, the attitude of the previous government, has the EFCC ever deemed it fit to invite any former president in Nigeria? The answer is no. So the states have mechanism, but it now beholds on the people to actually demand that these mechanisms be put in place so we can truly practice a federal structure. I believe that if we stretch and demand at the state, even at the local government level, mechanisms be put in place, we can actually achieve it. Even the EFCC that we're talking about, how well has EFCC fared also in terms of holding government that is in power accountable? It's almost the same thing. So it's all of us. It beholds on us. You can't have an agency in a federal system where it's like a poster boy of the government at the center, who they use to whip anybody that is not in support of the government in line. Like the former governor of Edo State, Oshomole, once said, once you join the party, ruling party at the center, then your sins will be forgiven, and the EFCC will not look your way.
You do have a point. At the heart of our challenge is the will to do the right thing. Let's see what happens with the Supreme Court decision. Thank you, as always, for speaking with us.
My pleasure.
In the meantime, the Federal High Court sitting in Kano has disqualified the chairman and members of the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission from conducting the upcoming local government elections just days before the scheduled poll on Saturday. The court delivered the ruling on Tuesday in response to a suit filed by a member of the opposition All Progressive Congress, Aminu Tiga, who challenged the eligibility of the state's commission members, including the chairman, citing their affiliation with the ruling New Nigeria People's Party and their failure to meet civil service grade requirements. In his judgment, Justice Simon Amobeda ruled that the chairman and other members of the commission were unfit for their roles, being card-carrying members of the NNPP. Let's get some perspective on this. We're joined by political analyst Ismail Awal. Ismail, thank you for joining us. What happens now, really? How will this court ruling impact Saturday's local government elections in the state?
Well, thank you very much for having me. Actually, we are all waiting to see what the state government and the state electoral commission is going to do. But I think most likely what the state electoral commission might do is rush to the higher court, because as you all know, this is a court of a federal high court, which means there are other courts ahead of them. So most likely they are going to rush to the Court of Appeal, and then then the court will ask them to maintain status quo, and then they will conduct the election this coming Saturday. Most likely that's going to happen, because what's happening now in Kano is the State Electoral Commission has continued with all the preparation it is doing in order to hold the upcoming election in Saturday.
What is the significance of this ruling, really? Do you expect compliance of further litigation?
No, actually, I didn't see the state government or the Electoral Commission complying with this judgment. For me, what I think is going to happen is the election is still going to hold on Saturday, and then the litigation will continue. Most likely after the election, the opposition party, that's the All Progressive Congress, will now maybe later go back to court and then ask for the court to cancel or maybe declare the seat vacant. And depending on this current ruling we're talking about, most likely is what is going to happen. So there's going to be a continuous litigation process.
I mean, people always say there is a political, drama going on behind the scene. How will this ruling impact the APC's political strength in Kano State, and on the flip side, the NNPP?
See this ruling in any way changing anything that's going to happen on Saturday. You see, it's very sad to say, but looking at what is happening, it's like according to the State Electoral Commission, or the chairman of the Electoral Commission, Professor Salim Malampashi, according to them, APC is not even contesting for any chair in the state, which means the NNPP is going to contest all by itself without having any serious or major opposition. So there's no question of whether the rule is going to have impact on any of on how the votes are going to be cast on Saturday.
All right, Ismail, thank you very much as always. Coming up, Edo Transition Committee accuses state government of withholding relevant document. We'll tell you more when we return from this break. Do stay with us. If you've just joined us, you're watching Tonight. A reminder of our top stories. 3 states withdraw as Supreme Court reserves judgment in 16 state governors' suit challenging legality of the EFCC. Federal High Court disqualifies Kano Electoral Commission chairman and members over partisan leaning. Edo Transition Committee accuses state government of withholding relevant documents. And fuel truck accident in Uganda leaves at least 10 people dead, several others injured. Thank you for staying with us. Let's head on now to Edo State, where Transition Committee has expressed worry over the withholding of relevant documents by the outgoing administration to enable members of the committee carry out their responsibility. Secretary of the All Progressive Congress Transition Committee made this known during the resumption of its meeting after a 1-day postponement of activities. It says that despite writing to relevant authorities under the current government, nothing has been done to improve the situation.
Both verbal and written, with the relevant officers of government, including the SSG, and we reached an agreement as at yesterday that they were going to do exactly what we asked for, because what they have supplied us at best has not addressed the issue substantially in any form. And we had expected by this morning that would be done. We discussed this morning, he called me, we spoke on phone. When I saw his message that they were having the meeting will be ongoing today, I said no. We had earlier on agreed that the documents so far supplied to us, none of the issues we raised have been addressed. For us to have a meaningful and informed discussion, we need a better set of documents that will address the issues we have raised.
The Nigerian Medical Association has accused the medical director of the Federal Teaching Hospital in Lokoja, Kogi State of rights violation and engaging in unfair labor practices. The Kogi State chapter of the association says that the rights of its members have continued to be abused, while the working conditions at the hospital has witnessed a steady deterioration in the last few months. Our correspondent, Joshua Imarayi, investigating these claims, has more on the details.
The Federal Medical Teaching Hospital in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital. The edifice boasts of an impressive exterior and admirable to many. However, within the walls of the facility, a raging war has ensued between the hospital chief medical director and some of its staff. Also, several sections of the hospital reveal a different story, as the sections are visibly dilapidated and deteriorating.
God forbid, if anybody should have an accident and is critically ill and is taken to FTH Lokoja, that person will die naturally because of the service delivery and also the poor working condition of that hospital. Sometime in May to June, an attendant died in that hospital because there was no light in the hospital.
Some members of the state chapter of the Nigerian Medical Association have raised serious concern, accusing the chief medical director of high-handedness and gross rights violation.
Now, what the hospital now does is this. They will take people on locum and casualize our doctors.
In a situation where a doctor is casualized for 4 years, you go every 2 months to renew your appointment. In the admin, your pension is not there. Your promotion is not there. Your training and retraining is not there. Your arrears are not coming. You are stagnated.
Some members of the Nigerian Medical Association in Kogi State have also expressed concern over the suspension of the president of the Association of Resident Doctors at the hospital.
We cannot be comfortable if any member of ARD Lokoja, Federal Teaching Hospital Lokoja, is being victimized or seem to be victimized for union activities.
All attempts to reach the Chief Medical Director of the Federal Medical Teaching Hospital in Lokoja for comment on the issue have been unsuccessful, as he says that he is unavailable at the moment. In Lokoja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
Joshua now joins us with further update on this story. Joshua, thank you for that report. What more can you tell us about this crisis? Joshua, you might want to check your audio. We cannot hear you.
In the Lokoja, there seems to be more political drama going on underneath the entire situation. However, there seems to be a parallel state officers executive from the the Nigerian Nigerian Association of Medical Practitioners here in Lokoja. Based on what we discovered so far, there is a parallel committee of the Nigerian Association of the Nigerian Medical Association here in Lokoja that are directly opposing the other party that Dr. Baoku belongs to. Dr. Baoku is one of those facing some persecution, alleged persecution by the Chief Medical Director of the Federal Medical Center here in Lokoja. It seems to be a quite elongated and prolonged political drama that has been ongoing for a while now. There seems to be warning from different factions of the Nigerian Medical Association here in Kogi and Lokoja, the state capital of Kogi State. According to what we heard so far, we gathered, according to reports, that the Chief Medical Director is allegedly sponsoring this parallel ESCOs of the Nigerian Medical Association here in Kogi, that this seems to be the case, and there is more to it concerning the politics in play and the power play at the Federal Medical Center here in Lokoja.
Hi, Joshua. We're trusting you for further updates and development in Kogi State. Thank you for speaking with us. Residents of Umuahia in Abia State seem uncomfortable with the 2-day sit-at-home order, which has been denied by the indigenous people of Biafra. They say closing businesses for 2 days for no justification is just like shooting oneself on the leg. News Center's Chinwe Ugede reports.
It is the day 2 of the sit-at-home that began yesterday, being Monday.
All I have to say is sitting at home is not the solution to whatever crisis it might be.
So I don't see any rationale concerning the sit-at-home. For me, it doesn't make sense.
The outcry by the citizens of the Southeast is born out of frustration from the never-ending order for sit-at-home from anonymous persons.
Everywhere is locked up. People are not doing business. Coming out from my house, it's so difficult. And the few vehicles available, they have hiked the price of transport fare. So it has been very, very difficult. This is not what we asked for.
A lot of people had proposed that the people themselves will have to resist this order for there to be a stop.
few people are just using this opportunity to maltreat the general public, especially this southeast. I don't know who is behind all these things, but it is not, the result is not good at all on the general public of the southeast here. So we as business people, we are entrepreneurs, we are people who use our hands to work out what we eat. We don't have to give in to all these propagandas here and there. We need to stand up, all of us, and say no.
They are troubled that the sit-at-home is causing more damage to the zone each time it is declared. The people want those responsible for the incessant calls for sit-at-home arrested, even as they allege sabotage of the zone by promoters.
So it's something the state government and the region entirely should look into and fish out those miscreants and the people that are sabotaging us economically.
IPOB has also come out to say that they did not at any time order this very sit-at-home. What role can the government play in assuring the citizens that they do not need to listen to any order that comes from non-state actors? In Omar Hafani Central, Chinwe Ugele.
Very pertinent questions, Chinwe. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has flagged off the construction of Access Road 1 by N16 to judges' quarters at the Katankpe district of Abuja. The minister, during the flag-off ceremony, assured that the FCT administration will also focus on other key infrastructure in a bid to make Abuja a model city. Amadine Uyi reports.
According to available data, Nigeria has about 195,000 kilometers of road network, which is the largest in Africa. However, only about 60,000 kilometers of these are paved, with many saying this is evident of an infrastructure deficit in the country.
Nigeria, like many other developing nations, have an infrastructure deficit. According to recent estimates, Nigeria needs to invest about $3 trillion over the next 30 years to close the infrastructure gap and achieve the level of development required for sustained economic growth.
While government has continued to work within its ability to fix this gap, many believe the efforts are inadequate, with the Federal Capital Territory, Nigeria's seat of government, coming under scrutiny.
The road network, power supply, housing, healthcare, and education sectors are some of the areas in urgent need of our attention. Here in Abuja, the infrastructure deficit is more glaring as the city's population continues to grow at an annual rate of 5%. This puts pressure on the existing facilities and highlights the need for more access road, more housing, and essential services to cater to the needs of residents.
In a bid to address this gap, the FCT administration has flagged off the construction of Access Road 1 by N16 to judges' quarters at the Katankpe district of the federal capital. The minister says that the administration will also focus on other key infrastructure within the city.
We're not only concentrating just on roads alone. As I speak to you now, we have not less than 25 schools to be rehabilitated, because you can't believe it that in a city like Abuja, you just go to the schools, you ask yourself, is it Abuja at all? It's quite unfair.
He assured of the federal government's commitment to making Abuja a model city, especially in the area of key and world-class infrastructure.
Let everybody know that we owe a duty to make sure Abuja competes favorably with other cities of the world. When we travel overseas, we say, oh, beautiful roads. These beautiful roads are being constructed by human beings. They don't have two heads. They have the same head with us, so we can replicate what we have seen overseas here.
He says that funds have been set aside for the project, which is expected to be commissioned as part of President Bola Tinubu's second year anniversary celebration. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
The Start-Upper of the Year Challenge by Total Energies is back with a special edition celebrating the 100th anniversary of the company. The aim of its fourth edition is to support and encourage young African entrepreneurs to innovate and bring their projects to reality in their country of application. News Center's Bettina Uweli reports.
The Startup of the Year by Total Energies Nigeria is a competition aimed at identifying, rewarding, and supporting the best business creation projects or the best developments of innovative companies that are less than 3 years old.
So we started with 34 African countries in 2015-16. This year, I think we have 32 countries, and there will be 100 winners coming from this Startup of the Year challenge. 100 winners, and today we're going to select some of them.
Now in its fourth edition, Total Energies has expanded the challenge to include 32 African countries for a special edition celebrating the centennial anniversary of the company, emphasizing its commitment to fostering innovation and sustainable development.
So this is our centennial edition special, where we have 100 winners from 32 African countries in the Startup Competition Series 4. The next step for them is now that they're going to have what we call an incubation. They're going to have a mentor who will train them, as someone used the word bake them, you know, and then prepare them to launch out further from where they are now.
And even for us who took part in the process, we're happy to mentor them. That's the only thing we can give to the next generation. So we're offering them support and mentorship. And it's not just about money, it's about network, it's about ideas. And there will be times they will struggle for us to be there for them and continue to grow them.
3 winners emerged out of 15 finalists in 3 different categories, with each person receiving a grant of 8 million naira. Temitope Yakubu won the Best Entrepreneur in the InnovUp category. Jacob Abiodun won in Secular Economy for the Cycle Up category, and Emmanuel Abba won in Sustainable and Affordable Energy for the Power Up category.
I've seen programs like this. I've seen it last 2 years. And I've applied to many of them as an entrepreneur, but I never take them so serious because most time it's always a rejection, and rejection is not part of me. When I got the, the congratulating message, the first stage, I didn't take it very serious, right? Because I was like, oh, that's cool. So let's go for the next one.
When I heard I was one of the top 600 or so, it was something I didn't expect because I've always had rejection from Total in time past. But this one happens to be something that really struck me. And I had to give it, I got encouraged because I was in that category, and we had to share and win and do everything. I got people to help me out, and hearing that I was in the top 100 again really inspired me. I didn't expect it, but then another mail came in a couple of weeks later, and it turned out to be I was among the top 15, right? Like top 15, me that I've had this in the past.
I've never had this kind of opportunity, this platform. And so coming to Total Energy was a different ballgame for me. I had to, abandon all the skill that I thought I had before. So coming down here with the training that I had to start afresh again. And I am always grateful to Total Energies for nurturing me in this kind of opportunity. Thank you.
With the Startup of the Year challenge, Total Energies continues to play a crucial role in supporting the next generation of business leaders in Nigeria and in Africa. In Lagos, for News Central, I'm Bettina Nwili.
That was really lovely to see. I couldn't help smiling. Still ahead tonight, fuel truck accident in Uganda leaves at least 10 dead, several others injured. We'll tell you about it when we return from this break. Do stay with us. A fuel truck accident in Uganda has left at least 10 people dead and several others injured. The truck lost control, overturned, and exploded on a highway in Kigokwa about 15 miles north of the capital city of Kampala. Firefighters were able to contain the blaze before it spread to a nearby petrol station. Investigations are underway and rescue teams are at the scene providing assistance.
I cannot ascertain the numbers of the injured, but for the death toll here at the scene, the ones who have recovered are 10. We have recovered 10 so far, but we're still work in progress. We're still at the scene, we're still ascertaining and checking out other areas where the fuel was flowing to. So it is a work in progress. We shall give you a proper report after today.
Thank you. May their souls rest in peace. Let's join our business desk now for today's business updates.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
As the initial phase of capital raising activities concludes in Nigeria, financial analysts have attributed the delay in the allotment of shares to the investor verification process being conducted by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Following the announcement of the new capital base by the CBN in March, some banks have gone to the market to raise funds. They have approached the market to raise funds via a combination of public offers and rights issues. These lenders raised a total of approximately 1.26 trillion naira, that's about $770 million, in the last 2 months to meet the CBN's requirements. The government in Ghana said it recorded a marginal oversubscription of Treasury bills auction. However, this came at the expense of a rising interest rate. According to the auction results by the Bank of Ghana, the government got 4.195 billion Ghanaian cedis from the sale of the short-term instruments as against a target of 4.035 billion Ghanaian cedis. All the bids tendered were accepted. About 83% of the bids, approximately 3.52 billion Ghanaian cedis, came from the 91-day bill. 545.83 million Ghanaian cedis were tendered for the 182-day bill. However, 128.52 million Ghanaian cedis were offered for the 364-day bill. Meanwhile, interest rates surged on the yield curve for the second consecutive week. And that's all on business news. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
And in sports, full house in the camp of Super Falcons ahead of Algeria friendly as rain holds first training session in Lagos. Favor Itua has more.
Sports Update, brought to you by Kano. Kano, we go the extra mile.
And in sport, several players of the Kano Pillars FC under-19 team have sustained injuries in a road accident that occurred on Tuesday, October 22nd. According to reports, the team was traveling to the New Jos Stadium for the under-19 Youth League match day 5 fixture against Plateau United under-19 when the accident occurred. The team's media director confirmed that the injured players and the driver were taken to the hospital for treatment. Meanwhile, Plateau State Commissioner for Youth and Sport, FA Chairman Suleiman Yahaya Kwande, and the Director of Sport Ezra Gumet paid a courtesy visit to the team's hotel following the unfortunate incident. And now to women's football. Head coach of Super Falcons, Justin Madugu, on Tuesday expressed his delight that all 25 invited players are already in camp as the team prepared for its first training session at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena, Lagos, ahead of their 2 international friendly matches against the senior women's national team of Algeria. However, the heavy downpour in Lagos on Tuesday made the training session impossible, with the team having to return to their hotel for gym sessions. The nighttime African champion will take on Algeria at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena on Saturday, the 26th of October, and again at the same venue on Tuesday, the 29th of October. Both matches will kick off at 4 p.m. Nigerian time. A 35-woman Algerian delegation is scheduled to arrive in Nigeria on Thursday morning, with the match officials of Benin Republic also scheduled to arrive in Lagos same day. Still talking football, President of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice Motsepe, has pledged to take necessary action following the airport ordeal faced by Nigeria Super Eagles at Alabrak Airport ahead of their 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Libya on October 15th. The Super Eagles scheduled to arrive in Benghazi for the second leg of the AFCON qualifier were unexpectedly diverted to Alabrak, a small airport primarily used for Hajj operations. The team was stranded for over 15 hours, sparking outrage and leading to their decision to boycott the match. Speaking at the CAF 46 Ordinary General Assembly in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Motsepe addressed the issue and reaffirmed CAF's commitment to accountability.
When there was this problem with the Nigerian national team in Libya, and I will not comment on that because there's a proper investigation, but I want to emphasize a principle that we will not tolerate, because this is something that has been going on for quite some time. Your national team, let me emphasize, forget about the Nigeria and Libya situation, because that process has been properly investigated and appropriate action will be taken.
And to wrap up sports update, badminton and hockey are among the sports that we miss out on the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland. A stripped-back program of 10 sports announced on Tuesday includes athletics, swimming as mandatory, as well as the likes of track cycling, boxing and gymnastics. The Games, last held in Glasgow in 2014 at a cost of over £540 million, will take place across 4 venues between 23rd of July and 2nd of August 2026. Glasgow stepped in to host after the Australian state of Victoria pulled out because of rising costs. A total of 3,000 athletes from up to 74 Commonwealth nations and territories are expected to compete at the 2026 Games. And that wraps it up on Sports Update. I'm Favor Itua.
Sports Update, brought to you by Kano. Kano, we go the extra mile.
Up next is entertainment.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Tonight on Entertainment News, Omoni Oboli's film The Uprising Wives on Strike 3 has set new records at the West African box office, earning 28.2 million naira, making it the highest performing film in the Wives on Strike franchise. The film also achieved notable milestones, including the highest ticket pre-sale for a Nollywood film, the highest opening weekend for a Nollywood crime thriller, and the biggest October Nollywood release. Omoni Oboli expressed gratitude to the cast, crew, and audience for their support in a heartfelt post. The Uprising is a satire that follows a female local government leader dealing with the complexities of her role and personal life. The film features an ensemble cast including Chioma Akpotha, Uche Jumbo, and Hilda Dokubo. President Joe Biden awarded the prestigious National Medals of Arts and National Humanities Medals to 39 cultural figures and institutions who have made significant contributions to American culture. Honorees include filmmaker Steven Spielberg, Spike Lee, and Ken Burns, musicians Missy Elliott and Queen Latifah, and playwright Aaron Sorkin. The award also posthumously recognized singer Selena Quintanilla, artist Ruth Asawa, and chef Anthony Bourdain. During the White House ceremony, Biden praised the recipients for enriching American culture and addressing contemporary challenges in the arts, referencing efforts to ban books and spread misinformation. Notable figures received art medals include actor Idina Menzel and Eva Longoria, while historian John Meacham and philanthropist Wallace Annenberg were among the humanities awardees. The National Endowment for Arts and Humanities managed these awards, which honor exceptional contributions to the arts and deepening the American understanding of the human experience. That's all on Entertainment News.
Entertainment News in association with Glow Unlimited.
entertainment, let's take a look at what's trending as the hashtag CAF president Patrice Motsepe is trending due to a video in which he hinted that Libya could face punishment over the Libya versus Nigeria match. Motsepe also highlighted the need for new rules to promote sportsmanship in international football. A lot of Nigerians had a lot to say on social media. Let's take a look at some tweets. At Kayode Ogun5, I don't like the sound of this. He gives the impression that he may also sanction Nigeria for how the Libyans were received when they came to Nigeria, even though it was entirely their fault. At AJ Silva CFC, speaking here as if he's being controlled and afraid of going against some certain inside authorities. Sorry to say this, but he's never giving me that aura of an independent leader. Anyways, always looks like someone being influenced by North Africans because CAF belongs to them. At G.E. Afolayan, he was simply being cautious as CAF president since there's an ongoing investigation. He started to approach Nigeria-Libya issue but quickly realized where it was headed and stopped himself, apparently saying nothing more on the issue. However, he did briefly mention the ongoing lack of sportsmanship, an issue that has gone unaddressed for some time. At least, he said something. At Bob Mfoma, CAF president Patrice Motsepe talking about his role and the Nigerian-Libya saga. Truth be told, it's easier to sit at home and give opinions and stuff, but this man is actually trying and doing a lot. Can't wait for the final verdict. At sports_Dr2, CAF President Motsepe on Libya versus Nigeria saga. He sounded really diplomatic and we hope there's adequate investigation and he follows his words up with action. That's all on What's Trending.
And that is all tonight. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. 3 states have withdrawn a Supreme Court reserved judgment in 16 state governors' suit challenging legality of EFCC. Federal High Court has disqualified Kano Electoral Commission chairman and members over partisan leaning. Edo Transition Committee has accused state government of withholding relevant documents. We also brought you news that failed truck accident in Uganda has left at least 10 people dead, several others injured. You can catch up on all the latest stories by watching News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274. We're also on Avo TV and on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.